I'm MiRey.
I'm Gabe.
And I'm Ref Ryan.
And you're
in
the Dog Pound.
Welcome to Dog Pound, where we stuff all the chalk talk and dirt we can into 30 minutes weekly. I'm Ref Ryan Welsh alongside MiRey Fernandez and Gabe Trevino. Here's what's coming up. First, Luka Doncic and the Lakers faced off against his former team, the Dallas Mavericks. This was the first meeting between Luka and the Mavs since the blockbuster trade. We'll give you our reactions and opinions on whether Luka makes the Lakers title contenders. Then, there have been a number of athletes skipping out on this year's NFL Combine. Does the Combine continue to have any value in the present day, or should the NFL just scrap it? We'll find the answer to that question later. As for Crown Point, the boys Bulldogs basketball team discovered their road to the sectional championship during Sunday night's blind draw, and to say the least, it was a very good draw for the Dogs. Feeling confident that CP will go back-to-back as sectional champ without much of a fight? We're going to bring in head coach Clint Swan, and he'll be sitting right there later in the show to talk us through the bracket. And to wrap it all up, Ref Ryan's Freaky Fast Friday finale. Let's get into it. It's always fun to watch a player face off against their former team right after a trade. What do you guys think about Luka's performance against the Mavs this week?
Luka shut them up, man. I mean, Luka Doncic is a special player, and he didn't even have his best night. I'm looking at a stat line here, 19 points, 15 rebounds, 12 assists. Incredible stat line. But he went 1 for 7 from 3. Imagine if he even made half of those 7, right? That would have just put his stat line over the roof. He proved why the Mavericks should have never traded him. And I told you guys before, the trade for the Lakers, A++ out of this world, right to the moon, through the moon. But now for the Mavericks, F-, like you instant fail, you're suspended from the NBA. It's unbelievable.
There's fans sitting outside the arena saying they're literally trying to cancel the trade.
Yeah.
Make the trade go back. I mean, that's how terrible that trade was. And yes, a 19-point, 15 rebound, 12 assist triple doubles, great. But that's not even Luka Doncic at his best.
No.
What could he do at his best?
Well, here's what I'm saying is you guys know me. I have not had high hopes for this trade and the Lakers with Luka. But I think the most important thing is him playing into shape. Everyone talks about how he's out of shape, and that's the concern. But the real concern is this shooting percentage. I mean, 1 for 7 from 3, and then this is how it has been. I mean, the last couple games, right?
Yeah.
He's had trouble shooting, and they're using him as an off-ball shooter, which is not where he's most confident as. Obviously, he loves to make plays with the ball in his hand. And so if they're going to use him in that role as an off-ball shooter, he needs to start shooting well. I understand a triple-double on not his best game is great, and against his former team, it's great. But I have to say, I don't think that they have a chance of the playoffs if he does not start shooting well.
They're going to adjust. I know shooting is important, and on Saturday night, he had 32 points against the Nuggets, who are one of the hottest teams in the Western Conference. He was great. I think they're going to adjust to that. I get what you're saying. I think using him as an off-ball shooter is not the right move. But I think they're going to adjust that. I think LeBron understands, he's been in the league for 20, 21 years. I think he understands that they're going to have to put Luka at the point guard. He's going to dish out assists.
Okay.
He's still going to score.
But if they put the ball in Luka's hands, then you have the problem that a lot of these super teams face, which is all-stars sharing the ball. They want to keep it. Right now, they're doing a good job because Luka's off ball. But if LeBron's off ball, I'm not sure that would. I don't know.
You're missing.
Will that work out?
You're missing a very important detail. Luka wasn't even their best player last night. Everything isn't dependent on Luka Doncic. I mean, LeBron James, 27 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists.
Yeah, because they're using him off ball.
No, Austin Reeves, 20 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. It's not all dependent on Luka. And Luka had a triple-double and wasn't even his best game. I'm going to tell you this right now. I think the Lakers have a shot to win the finals. I think they're going to be your NBA championship. Yeah, absolutely.
I disagree.
LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, that core 3 alone can even beat out a team like the Celtics.
And Ryan, you got to think, sometimes, the Lakers have a much more stacked roster than people think. People look at LeBron and Luka and then, who else do they have? They have Jared Vanderbilt. They have Austin Reeves. They have Jackson Hayes. They have a loaded roster, so you can put in LeBron with some of those other guys, take him out, put Luka in.
Okay, don't get me wrong.
Rotate him out.
First of all, that's not going to work in the playoffs.
By the way,
they're going to need both those players in when it comes to tight games in the playoffs, and then you have the problem with sharing the ball. Then you have the problem with if they use him off ball, him shooting, and so.
I don't think Luka's going to have a problem with being off ball. LeBron, maybe. But he's been in the league for 20 years. I think he understands to win a championship with this team, he's going to have to put Luka at the point guard position. He's going to have to take off the ball. Or it's Luka takes that, and he accepts that he's the off-ball guy. LeBron's the point guard and the sister, whatever you want to call him. I think that they're going to accept the rules. I think the Lakers are going to be – it's a solid problem. I understand the problem, but they're going to figure it out. They're really good.
You know what? Just one last thing. Can we just – I know we talked about how bad a trade it was for the Mavericks, but Klay Thompson and Kyrie Irving. Klay Thompson, 22 points, 8 rebounds, and an assist. Kyrie Irving, 35 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. I'm not saying throwing Anthony Davis in there is going to fix everything, but I say it's an F- only because you lose Doncic. If you look at it as a team, adding AD to those two might fix a few things.
At the beginning of the show, we brought up the question, does the NFL Combine have any value? Stay tuned. On the other side of the break, Gabe and MiRey will break it down for you. Okay, but
it was a close
I'm not saying that they can't win the championship, the Lakers.
Some see a wrestling match. We see a 6-minute lesson in grit. Proud to keep education in front of athletics since 1903.
Some of the big names in this year's NFL draft, names like Abdul Carter and Ashton Genty, top draft prospects, have opted out of participating in the NFL Combine. This begs 2 questions. 1, why? And 2, does the Combine have any value in today's league?
Okay, I want to answer the second question first. Does it have any value in today's league? Absolutely not.
Oh, man.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think that the Combine has nothing. I mean, what have we seen? In the last 3 years, like, Combines, they change a player's, like, a scout's opinion on a player?
They absolutely do, Gabe. The Combine is one of the most important things we see because it finally lets us see the true athletic capabilities of some of these players. Most of the time, if you do well in the Combine, you're going to go pretty high than before the Combine. Like, there's players who maybe didn't go to the greatest school. You know, Braden Fisk, he had a great year last year with Florida, but he went to the draft, the Combine, and he just did amazing. He killed it. And his draft capital skyrocketed. The Combine is one of the most important things of the offseason, Gabe.
Everyone focuses on the top 10 picks in the Combine. But that's not where the Combine is really, really useful for. It's that end of first round, late second round area where they can...
Deeper rounds. There's kids who maybe didn't get the chance they could in college, and the Combine is their one chance to finally show what kind of athlete they are.
That has nothing to do with the Combine.
Oh, man.
The Eagles are great at that. Howie Roseman, the GM for the Eagles, is great at that. He got Jordan Mailata, the left tackle that we have right now, is fantastic in the 6th round. But that has nothing to do with the Combine. I don't even know if Jordan Mailata went to the Combine, okay? It has no value to me in this year's NFL.
That is shocking.
Shedeur, and by the way, Shedeur Sanders, Abdul Carter, who might need to get foot surgery, by the way, and Ashton Genty not going to the Combine. It doesn't matter.
Okay. That's okay. You really think? Listen, we have tape. Gabe, we have tape of these guys playing in college.
So why need the Combine?
For the people who maybe don't have a lot of tape.
It's like I just said, the only people that go to Carter and Ashton Genty, and that's why they're not participating. I'm telling you, it's not for the top guys. It's asking, does it have value in the NFL in this day and age? The answer is yes. Okay, regardless how much value or whether it's the most important thing, obviously not. You know, how they play during the season is the most important. But it does hold value. It helps people who are less seen get their name out even more than it already is.
Maybe guys like John Ross coming out of college, he was a mid-round pick. Nobody really thought he was going to get picked high. And then he ran the fastest 40 we've seen until I believe Xavier Worthy beat it. And he ran the fast 40 of 4.22, and his draft capital skyrocketed. Sure, his NFL career didn't pan out to what we think it is, but it's very valuable.
Is that not valuable?
I'm not saying it's never valuable, but most of the time it's not.
So how about this? What if a prospect is coming out of college and he struggles in the 40-yard dash, he struggles pushing the sled, he struggles in basically the 3-cone drill? You don't think his draft capital is going to fall?
I think that it either just keeps you the player you are. I don't think it improves. I think it either makes your capital worse or just keeps you the same. It never.
What are you talking about?
Give me an example then. Give me an example.
I just gave you one.
John Ross didn't even get drafted in the top 10. It didn't matter.
It's not for the top 10 guys.
I just said it's not for top 10. It's for later round / even end of first round, hopping up to like pick 15, pick 12. Okay, it's valuable for those players.
I'll tell you what. How about this? For the general managers out there, whoever's watching, if we have a general manager, but listen, you have a defensive end 1, defensive end 2. They are neck and neck. You don't know who's going to get drafted first. Let's say the defensive end you're looking for does a lot better than the other defensive end at the 3-cone drill. Maybe you need a speed rusher off the edge because you already have your power guy, and that drill help you determine who to pick because the 3-cone drill helps you identify the speed rusher and then the push and the sled.
3 cones weigh what? 2 pounds? What if he has to go up against a 330-pound, 6'8"
a 3-cone drill where they're testing their agility. The 3-cone has to do with your agility. How low
you don't even know what they do in the combine.
It does matter.
You're arguing for no reason.
Speed against Jordan Mailata, good tackles in the NFL won't matter. It doesn't matter.
So when
you're saying nothing matters. So you're saying college doesn't matter. Them playing for 4 years doesn't matter because they're going to face some good players in the NFL. Isn't that right?
Way better players than college.
Then what?
Hey, how about that? I'll give you a very. Hold on. I'll call a timeout here, Ref Ryan. How about a flashback to a few years ago? The Jaguars had the number 1 overall pick, and there was Aiden Hutchinson on the board. But they didn't pick him. They picked Trayvon Walker. Why? Because the combine skyrocketed his draft value. There's no reason he should have went number 1.
Is he now?
He's not very good, but it matters. It changes the scope. It's a domino effect. It doesn't change his guy's career.
Go to the combine? I think he was hurt, right?
Who did?
Aiden Hutchinson. Was he hurt?
No, he was at the combine. He was at the combine. And guess what? He didn't do too well. And then he fell. Listen, if I can convince you to say, if I can get you to look at the camera.
Look at how good Aiden Hutchinson is now compared to Trevon Walker.
Dude, I'm just saying it's a domino effect. It doesn't determine who's good and who's not. It changes how general managers think.
Think about the draft. But like how people get drafted and how they perform where people get drafted, I should say, and how they perform in the NFL is way different. Aiden Hutchinson got drafted below
100%. Listen, that's not our point.
That's not what
the point is, does
it have value?
The combine change general managers' mind? Does it have value to general managers? Yes. Very recently, Zach Wilson, the BYU throw, where he just did a crossbody throw. His draft stock skyrocketed.
I never thought he was good.
Listen, he skyrocketed because of that one throw. It absolutely matters.
That was a pro day, right?
That was a pro day, but it's similar to a combine.
Yeah.
You know, Caleb Williams last year sat out of the combine, and you don't think he's very good. So do you think the combine, if you would have performed at the combine, would have done well?
Had a better rookie season than him.
We're not getting into that right now, Gabe. We're not getting into that right now.
Just want to point out I was right about that.
Oh man. You're unbearable. You are unbearable.
We're going to take one more break, but when we come back, it's time to preview Hoosier Hysteria postseason high school basketball, specifically for the Bulldogs. Stay with us.
Some see a coach sending a runner home. We see a mentor guiding a student athlete into the future. Proud to keep education in front of athletics since 1903.
A couple of weeks ago, we were asking ourselves just how good CP's basketball team was after a 2-game skid. But then they went on another win streak, and Crown Point's sectional draw may allow them to breathe a bit as they take these last few games to work some things out. Ray, let's take a look at the bracket.
If you take a look at the Class 4A Sectional 1 bracket, CP drew the short side and will face Morton in the semifinal in their first game, and they'll face off the lone survivor of Hammond Central, Munster, and Lake Central, who will mix it up on the other side of the bracket. The Dogs beat out all 4 of these teams during the regular season, but as you know, anything can happen in the playoffs. Here now to help us break down the bracket is head coach of the Bulldogs, Clint Swan.
Welcome, Coach.
Thanks for having me.
What was your initial reaction to the sectional draw Sunday, and then you seemed to handle Morton Wednesday night pretty easily. How are you feeling?
Well, initially, if we're being honest, seeing that we got the short bracket was a relief. You know, we knew we were going to be playing a good team, no matter who we drew, and we knew we were going to be away from home. But seeing that we were going to have those few extra days to get ready was certainly a relief. You know, we did beat Morton in our most recent game. However, it wasn't. The score was not indicative of how close that game was. They posed a lot of problems. So to have that kind of practice swing in our most recent game, knowing that we're going to be playing them again was helpful, and then to have those few extra days was nice.
So what do you take away? I mean, you said the final score isn't really indicative of how well that team is. I mean, you won 76-57. You're looking at it on paper like I am right now. It seems like you healthily won. What are the concerns that you're seeing going into this first playoff game?
It's all about matchups in the tournament, right? And they have the ability to kind of spread you out and beat you off the dribble, and those are the teams that usually are able to pull off the big upset. Those are the teams that are usually able to shock everybody. So for us to have got to bring them into our place, and like I said, kind of have a practice swing, see exactly what those matchups are going to look like going into that next game, is huge for us, because we basically won that game in one quarter. I think it was 22-8 in the second quarter.
Second quarter, yeah, final score 22-8.
And then we end up winning by 19. So those other 3 quarters, it was 5 points. Yeah. So I think that score kind of belies what actually happened. So I've only watched the first quarter so far. I haven't really done a deep dive yet, but they pose some problems, and we're going to have to come out ready.
If I recall correctly, I think after the first quarter, it was like a 1 or 2 point game, maybe even 3. That might be a little bit concerning, because I've seen that a lot this season with your team. The first quarter, you guys come out a little bit flat, respectfully, but then you guys really pick it up. What are you telling your teammates? What are you telling your players to really help them pick that up? Because 22-8 in the second quarter is tremendous.
Yeah, it's not really anything that we're saying to them or messages that we're delivering or anything. It's possession by possession, right? Yeah. That's all we think about, is how can we win that next possession, and the way in which our bench contributes when we have to bring in those first wave of substitutions is going to be very, very telling in terms of how the game is going to play out. And last night it wasn't great, so hopefully in our next game, and then in that first tournament game, we can get better contributions from the guys that we bring in off the bench.
So, as a fan, you can go ahead, Gabe, actually.
I've always wondered, I played high school basketball back in the day in 8th grade. I played on a few high school teams. I've always wondered with coaches, because as a player, regular season and playoffs, totally different. As a coach, do you prepare any differently, or is it just any other game in the playoffs?
I think you prepare differently, because you do everything you can to try to maintain the normalcy of the game. We tell our players just only concentrate on that next game. I think a big mistake that teams make when the tournament draw comes out is, for instance, last year we drew Kankakee Valley, and just because of how the draw came out, we knew who we were playing in game 2. We knew we were going to be playing Valpo. And then if we won that game, we knew we were going to be playing Chesterton, because Valpo was playing Hobart and Chesterton was playing Lowell. We knew they were going to win those games. So I think a mistake a lot of teams make is, look at this, we can win these games. We can be cutting down the nets on Saturday night. It's got to be Kankakee Valley. Just only think about Kankakee Valley. When that draw came out, Hammond Morton. Only think about Hammond Morton. Don't think about, okay, if we win this game, we could be playing one of these teams on Saturday night. Don't even think about that. Just focus only on Hammond Morton, and that's kind of what we do when it comes to preparation.
So, like I said earlier, you're playing Hammond Morton once again in this playoff. Are we going to see something similar out of you? Are we going to see some changes? Because I'm sure, like as a coach, you're always nitpicking with things. Are there going to be any big changes?
Well, there's always adjustments, right, from game to game. There were some matchups that did give us some problems. They are so good with the ball. If they get out in space, they can beat you at the point of attack and just straight line drive us. What can we do to offset that? Do we need to play more zone? Do we need to, scouting report wise, play off certain guys more and just be in the gaps and try to make it look more crowded? Those are the kinds of things that we try to do. I don't have this, I got this magical defense in my back pocket that we didn't use. We're not about that. We're going to go out and just try to tweak a couple things here and there, and hope we play a little better next Friday.
Coach Mason Darrell, 33 points last night. He's an emotional guy. He's a hustler. He does all the dirty work for your team. What can you say about him and how he sets the tempo for this team heading into the playoffs?
He does a lot of different things for us. I think that a lot of people just completely home in on the way he shoots the ball, the way he scores the ball. But like the play of the game last night was him running down a loose ball and getting a breakaway layup for us. It was just a huge emotional lift. There are games where we need him to be a defensive stopper. He can do that. There are games where we need him to distribute the ball. He can do that. In the Hammond Morton game, we needed him to make some shots, and he was able to do that. So he's able to do a lot of great things. And you're right. As he goes, we go. If he comes in and he's right, we're normally going to be pretty good.
Well, thank you, Coach. Thanks for being here. It means a lot. Good luck next week in the sectional. I'll tell you what, we'll take one more look at that sectional bracket. Okay, guys, time for predictions. Coach out of the studio. Who you got, Ray?
Hey, no surprise here. Give me the Crown Point Bulldogs to repeat back-to-back years as sectional champs. They got a lot of firepower on offense, a lot of firepower on defense, and Coach Swan is tremendous. Give me the Dogs.
How about you, Gabe?
Just like the Combine, get rid of sectionals. Regionals is the only thing that matters. Each game, 25, 30-point blowout. They're beating Hammond Morton. They're beating Lake Central. It won't matter.
Man, oh, man.
Well, there you go. Both MiRey and Gabe have the Bulldogs repeating as sectional champions. Maybe Gabe a little more so. But now, it's Ref Ryan's turn to give my spin and sum it all up in our Freaky Fast Friday finale. While LeBron remains the big draw in Lakers land and they may be capable of winning it all, the pressure falls more so on the back of Luka and his chemistry with the team. But look, he needs to play into shape quick, and he needs to play a specific role on this team. I just don't see it happening. But good luck, La La Land. NFL prospects opting to sit out of the Combine creates many questions as to the usefulness of it in this day and age. Look, I get that it's a way to drive interest in the league during the offseason, but is it enough to count? And it will count a lot less as big names drop out. Plus, what are they learning about these players watching them in-game for the last 4+ years? Scrap it and get on with the draft. Lastly, CP has an easy road to sectional glory. No need for suspense or drama here. Dogs repeat as sectional champs. And that's it for the show. Check us out on our radio show, Dog Pound, Monday and Friday nights at 5 p.m. on the dogradio.com and the Dog Radio app. For MiRey and Gabe, I'm Ref Ryan. We'll see you next week.